Good morning, everyone. My name is June, and I'm going to talk about a topic which is very relevant to me. Actually, this topic revolves around three letters: O, F, W. OFW, three letters that don't mean anything when read, but it means a lot if you're a Filipino. What does this word really mean? Overseas foreign worker, overseas Filipino worker. Now, never in my whole life did I ever think that I would be one of the OFWs because I really love the Philippines. I enjoy being in the Philippines. I have lots of friends in the Philippines, and I never really thought that I would ever consider going to another country and work there. However, after gaining experiences uh, working, I realized that the world was not fair. Now, what am I talking about? I graduated in 2004, and I was one of the lucky few graduates who immediately found work. I started working for a Korean school. I was teaching English as a second language. So I started off as a teacher there, and I got promoted to become an assistant supervisor. Now, I was working a regular 8 to 5 job. Now, you'd think that, being a fresh graduate, you'd be okay with whatever. Well, true, I was okay. But after some time, you think, like, you know what? You want more. But how are you going to get more? Now, the only way for me at that time was to get more classes, which means more hours. So instead of working from 8 to 5, I had to add 4 more hours to my already 40-hour per week schedule. Now, at that time, salary was 8,000 per month plus 1,000 incentive if you're not late or absent. Now, when it took or I took extra classes in the evening, I went up to getting like around 12 plus 1, which is like 13,000 per month. It was okay. It was okay, no problem. Now, in that school, Korean school, I guess you guys may already know that Korean schools are not only taught by Filipino teachers, there are also native speakers there. Now, you'd think it is very obvious that the natives would be paid more. But how much more? Maybe you guys don't know. But the discrepancy between the salary of a local Filipino teacher and a native teacher was just too big of a gap. Now, why is this a problem? Obviously, natives, they have to be paid more or else they won't work, right? But it was a problem because the Filipino teachers were being outworked while the native teachers were just basically playing games or chatting with their students or playing movies during the class, and they would sleep at the back of their class. So it wasn't really fair. So it came into my mind, you know what? I've had enough of this. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to get paid like a native. So I have to find an opportunity to become a native and get paid like a native. So what can I do? Obviously, the solution was not to stay in the Philippines. So I went to look for opportunities abroad. But my desire to, uh, you know, stay in the Philippines was much greater. And also at that time, going, not just at that time, but basically in general, going abroad is not easy because not just of the finding the right opportunity, but also you need to have the money. Because if you want to go abroad, there are three basic things that you need to possess. Number one, you need to have uh, experience. Number two, you need to find the right opportunity for you because you don't want to fall into like just some bad jobs. Let's just put it that way, or become victims of illegal recruiters. And number three, money. So I had experience, but I did not find the right opportunity yet at that time, and I didn't have the money. So what I did, because I've just had enough working for the Korean school, I quit my job. That was my first job. I quit that one, and then I worked for a school in Cebu, a university in Cebu. I worked there, gained more experience, able to save up money, and then after that, I found the right opportunity, luckily with the help of um, my girlfriend at that time, who happens to be my wife now. So she helped me get into her company. So in 2009, late August 2009, I came to China, Xi'an, China. When I arrived in Xi'an, China, I was very happy because I really love the place, because Xi'an is like, it has a very good mix of the old and the new. So you could, if you guys don't know, like Xi'an was the capital of China long time ago. So it was really very cultural being here, and it was also the development to modernize Xi'an was also beginning. So it was good for me. It was a good balance for me. However, my girlfriend was teaching in another city, so we couldn't get to meet often. If we were to meet, I would have to travel like 4 hours on a slow train going to her city, and or she would come to my city. That was the case. And then one thing about being an OFW is you would really feel homesick. So when I came to Xi'an, I was the only Filipino here. So what I did was I hooked up with a few of my university classmates. I tried to find out what they were doing. Now, the first one I hooked up was like she was coming to China, but she was going to another city and she was being offered like a really low. So I talked to her and told her, you know what, your offer was not good. So if you want, you can come here and join me over here. So she did. So she was the first one, and then I called two other friends, classmates again from university, and then they joined. And then now slowly the community, the Filipino community of Xi'an grew. So now I'm proud to say that the Filipino community here in China is pretty big, and particularly here in Xi'an. I'm very proud of that one. I'm very proud to say that I'm a part of the people or the person who made or who gave opportunities for other Filipinos. Now, um, let me talk about my stay here in China. China has been very good to me. I started off as a teacher, a children's teacher. Like I was teaching like 3 years old, all the way to adults for my first job. I stayed in my first job for 6.5 years, and then I got promoted to become a manager, and then a trainer, and then I became a deputy regional director. And then after that, I quit that job, joined an adults English training institution, obviously to get more pay. And then I stayed there. I was the supervisor for that adult training institution, English training institution. Okay, to be exact. I don't want you guys to think more. Now, after a year and a half, I got an opportunity to teach for an international school for the #1 middle school. I was teaching senior high school students for the #1 provincial school here in my province. And then after that, I got recruited to where I am working right now. So currently, I am a curriculum specialist working for a company which has the desire to compete with the likes of Disney. So China's been very good to me, but obviously, when there are good things, there are also some bad things. I've also experienced, a few bad things here in China. But there are 2 things that would come to my mind when I talk about bad things. The first one was when I lost my motorbike. So during that day, we were taking our son to find his first play school, and I parked my motorbike at the front entrance of the mall. So we went up, we attended the free class, the demonstration class for my son, and then after that one went down, motorcycle was gone. Asked around, nobody saw. So we went to the mall security. I went to look for the CCTV. I saw, reported it to the police. The police, I asked for an investigation. The police, investigated the case, but unfortunately they couldn't find the guy. So that's one case. And the other case was when I was really new here in China. I had my salary stolen, my whole salary stolen. What happened was I was on an ATM, and then I had those like baggy pants on, and I put my salary in one of the pockets, went home. I wanted to count so that I could divide the money, because obviously, part of being an OFW is you send money back home. So when I went home, I realized that I no longer had my salary, my full salary. It was very depressing because you worked hard, but all of a sudden you lost. Now went to the police, asked for help. At that time, I didn't speak any Chinese. Now, actually, when you come to China, there are actually 2 things that you need to remember when you're going to the police. If you're just telling the police about your story, the police won't do anything. You have to file a report for an investigation if you want the police to do something about it, and it has to be over 14,000 pesos or 2,000 RMB in order for the police to act on your case. If not, they're not going to do anything about it because it's not worth their time. It's not worth their efforts. So those were the 2 biggest ones. the first difficulty that you will encounter if you become an OFW here in China is the language. So when I came here, I knew nothing. I didn't even know how to say hello. I eventually knew how to speak Chinese, and right now I can speak excellent Chinese. So at that time, I survived on just, listening to others and just remembering what I ate, where I ate. So picture menus. So that was very helpful. Now, Philippines and China, they're both good countries. Uh, I know a lot of you maybe are biased, would say that China is a bully or whatnot, but you know having been here in China, I have already seen a lot of good things. I'm not saying that I am not patriotic. In fact, I love my country so much, but I just have to be realistic and practical. Currently, I am in China. China is the one giving me um, bread on my plate, providing for me and my family. So for now, my loyalty is here. You know, a lot of the things that you see on TV about China is not real. Like prior to coming into China, I was so scared because it's a communist country, and when you talk about being in a communist country, you think that it's very dangerous, but in fact, China is super safe. You could come home any time of the day, any time of the night, even dawn, you're safe, no problem. And also, uh, here in China, if you just know how to make friends, your life is good. Your life is is in a good place. So you just have to have what they call as guanxi. Guanxi means it's an intricate relationship. So if you have that one, if you know a lot of people, then even the impossible gets possible. Now, would I continue to stay in China? I would have to say yes. I will continue to stay here in China because number one, um, the pay and the opportunity that I have here, I would never be able to have in the Philippines. I'm not gonna talk how much I'm getting paid, but it's enough. It's enough. It's more than enough. That's the first one. Number two, um, my son currently studies here in China, and fortunately, he's free, so he's getting free tuition. So if I go to back to the Philippines, I would have to shoulder all of the expenses. While if I'm here, um, you know, I don't have to worry about that one. So um, being an OFW is not easy, but it's not bad. It's how you make uh, with the opportunity that is given to you, and the choices and the relationships that you make or you build. So, you know, if you're homesick, you can always get your parents to come over. It's not, it's not impossible. But obviously, like I've tried getting my mom to come over, but um, she doesn't she doesn't want to stay long, and she couldn't handle the cold weather. I'm trying to get my son to come here, but I guess he's super busy with studies. But hopefully, I still hope one day that he'll be able to come here and I'll be able to share the opportunities with him, share all my experiences that I've had here in China. Anyways, guys, if you have more questions, I'm pretty sure topics about this could be found online. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna discourage you about the idea of being an OFW. But if you want to stay in the Philippines, that's also a good thing. Your decision to stay in the Philippines is gonna help the country. But if you feel like you know you wanna try being an OFW, you can. You can do it. Um, just be strong emotionally, mentally, and physically, because you have to do everything by yourself. Right? So I guess I've talked for so long now. It's time for me to go. It's time for me to work. All right. Bye, guys.